Welcome back to the Roundball Mining Company Denver Nuggets film room. Hopefully this is not the final edition of the film room in the 2009-2010 season, but today we're going to take a look at some of the defensive breakdowns the Denver Nuggets have been experiencing against the Utah Jazz. And team defense is a very fragile thing. It only takes one player to foul things up for the whole team, and we're going to take a look at some examples of that happening from Game 4 in Utah. In our first clip, we're going to see some pretty sound defense by the Nuggets. The guards, for most of the first half, were switching perimeter screens, but they were fighting over screens set by bigs in order to prevent getting caught in any mismatches, which is a fine strategy. Here, there you see a switch right there. And you're going to, as the play goes on, you're going to see Chauncey is going to get rubbed off. Nene's in perfect position to help, but he's more worried about making sure Boozer doesn't get a pass and doesn't do anything to help out. And I talked about Nuggets having to trust each other, and that was an example where Nene didn't trust that someone would help him on Boozer if he stops the ball penetration. I mentioned how the guards were switching perimeter screens, and in this clip you're going to see that Aflalo expects Chauncey to switch. Chauncey does not switch. There's no communication, and the result is a wide open three-pointer for Deron Williams, and of course he knocks it down. He's been playing great this series, and I don't expect that to change. On this set, JR is going to get picked off on a little brush screen by Deron Williams here coming up at the top of the screen, and he never communicates what he needs. He never recovers properly. He should have called for a switch. Melo rotates over, Kenyon rotates out, and JR never figures out where to go till it's too late. Millsap gets the ball, and he's going into the basket, and Nene helps, but JR for some reason reaches in and compounds things by fouling. Here's another example of how one man's mistake can cause a complete breakdown on the defense. Carmelo's back, but he doesn't see his man Wesley Matthews. He doesn't realize Matthews cuts all the way across the baseline, and Matthews ends up being wide open. Nene's stuck guarding two people on the weak side. He can't stop the pass, and the result is an easy basket by Boozer, just simply because Melo didn't notice Matthews ran through the lane. Kyle Korver's had success against the Nuggets this season, primarily because he moves so well without the ball. On this play, you're going to see JR is at the top of the screen guarding Kyle Korver, and Deron's going to drive to the right side. JR's going to get caught watching the ball. When he turns his back, Korver just moves probably about 8 or 10 feet. JR doesn't realize that he's out of position, and Korver splashes the three. A perfect example of how you need to always keep an eye on your man in that situation. In this next play, you're going to see where the lack of focus for just a split second can cause a breakdown and an easy basket. Nene is going to be on the weak side guarding Boozer, and you're going to see just for a split second here, he loses contact with him, doesn't know where he is, and as a result, Boozer gets an easy shot, and he misses, but Birdman has to help out, leaving the rebound open for Miles, who puts it in. The Jazz guards have been really hurting the Nuggets, running off screens and then catching and shooting, and as a result, the Nuggets bigs have to be able to help out as the guard comes off the screen in order to make sure they can't catch and shoot. Here, Birdman just overhelps, and it's you like to see Birdman trying to help. He's trying to do the right thing, but because he gets too extended, it leaves his man wide open for an easy layup. Here's another pick and roll set by the Jazz, and you're going to see Kenyon is actually playing the low side in case Williams goes away from the screen, and Melo's at the elbow ready to help if Williams does drive over the screen, but Kenyon is just kind of in no man's land. When Millsap goes to the basket, Kenyon is out of position. Millsap gets inside of him and tips a shot, and Kenyon still, even then, allows Boozer to get inside of him for the tip in, and that's just a poor positioning by Kenyon, just inexcusable. I'll let you guys watch this clip and figure out what the Nuggets do wrong. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to determine the breakdown here. The ball's what goes to the hoop, and that's what you have to defend first. I thought Nene has done a pretty good job in this series of hedging on the pick and roll and not letting Williams get into the lane too easily. On this high screen and roll, however, you're going to see Nene doesn't hedge to slow Williams down. He also doesn't stay with Boozer. He allows a lane for Williams to drive. He also allows a lane for Williams to pass, which is what he chooses to do. And ultimately, Boozer has a wide open shot because Nene never committed to defending either Williams or Boozer. If the Denver Nuggets now improve their defense, they obviously will not be able to come back from their 3-1 deficit against the Utah Jazz in their first round series. The Nuggets have had some colossal collapses from time to time, but for the most part, their defensive breakdowns are these little individual errors that can be easily corrected if they simply spend some time watching film, spend some time working with each other to know exactly what they want to do in what situation. The Jazz aren't throwing anything new at them. They're doing the same thing they've done for the last 20 years, as Jerry Sloan has been their coach. And Denver is closer than I think a lot of us seem to think by looking at the film. We can see that these little lapses, these little mistakes are things that can be corrected. And the only question is if they're going to be able to solve those problems in time to come back in this series. Thanks for joining us once again in the Roundball Mining Company Denver Nuggets Film Room. I encourage you to visit our blog at roundballminingcompany.com, a member of the ESPN True Hoop Network.